Welcome back to another dodgeball video. In my comment section a few weeks ago I got asked, what are some common dodgeball injuries and how do you prevent them? So today I'll be covering just that. I have 5 really common dodgeball injuries that I know have happened multiple times to multiple people or ones I've experienced myself, and I'm going to talk about different ways you can prevent them. Now of course with any injury, there's no way to completely avoid getting an injury, but these are methods to help prevent and reduce the risk of you getting these injuries. And like I said, this came from the comment section from one of you guys who subscribes and watches my videos. If you have any dodgeball topics you'd like me to cover, always drop them in the comments. I'm always on the lookout to add new topics to my list. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. So let's jump right into it. So I've ordered these from least common to most common, and I picked the top 5. So the first one is going to be ankle sprains and breaks, and I didn't want to just do ankle sprains or just do ankle breaks because I know that both have happened a decent amount of times, and so I didn't want to have both on the list separately either. But I actually was in a game when a female player actually broke her ankle and her foot at the same time. It was actually like a freak thing, but it's definitely something that happens occasionally. So as far as the prevention of these injuries go, I did research various scientific articles and studies on athlete injury prevention. I looked up different advice from different sports medicine facilities. So this isn't just me talking out my ass. I did do some research into how the professionals are saying to prevent these injuries. So now a big thing of prevention with the ankle injury is by doing obviously proper warm-up and stretching before you play. That'll be a reoccurring thing for all these. But another important thing is to work on your ankle strength and flexibility throughout your workout week. So one that was mentioned a few times was these ankle stretches, so I'm going to attempt to demonstrate them now. So basically 30 to 60 seconds, you're pointing your toe left and right, up and down, and you want to hold it for 30 to 60 seconds each of these positions, right? And you want to do that at least 3 to 4 rounds every day, and that'll build up your ankle flexibility and strength. You can also do balance exercises. You can do heel elevated exercises, so you could do a goblet squat with your heels elevated. That helps build your ankle strength and flexibility. Just various exercises that kind of target that will really help prevent the ankle sprains and breaks, because your ankle will have the strength to, when you do land a little awkwardly, to catch itself and not completely rip ligaments or anything. But another big thing that a lot of these mentioned was if you are prone to ankle injuries, if you sprained your ankle a lot and you have weakened ligaments, to wear an ankle brace when you play, and it'll overall just help stabilize your ankle. Number 2 on the list, and this is one that pops up in a multitude of sports, and I've noticed it happening more and more over the last 10 years of watching sports and playing sports, and that's the ACL tear. And there's other knee injuries that can happen in dodgeball. Like I've sprained my meniscus, I've strained my MCL before. There's other ligaments in the knee that can get injured while playing dodgeball, but the big one that I've actually been at tournaments multiple times where people have torn their ACLs. I've heard about it multiple times over the years, and it seems to happen frequently enough that I wanted to include it on this list. So in terms of ACL tears and preventing them, one of the reoccurring things that was listed a lot was targeted strength training, meaning you want to target the areas, the foundation around your knee to build up that strength, so when you do change direction or land hard, you have that strong foundation that's in your legs that hopefully your ACL will not tear. But some exercises that were recommended were lunges, because you also want to target balance as well, and squats, building up those quads, building up those hamstrings. And another one that I saw a lot was doing high intensity jump training. So lots of, maybe you could do an exercise like 3 pogo jumps to a vertical jump, or you could do 3 pogo jumps and then go into a broad jump. Just various high intensity jumping exercises to build that elasticity in your knee. And one other thing, just really quickly from personal experience, when I did sprain and strain my meniscus and MCL, after I was able to come back and play again once it was healed, just as a preventative measure of not retweaking it, I wore a knee brace for, I think it was 2 to 3 weeks after, until I finally felt comfortable taking the knee brace off. Number 3, and this is one I'm currently dealing with myself actually, and that's overuse injuries in your shoulder. Usually that leads to shoulder strains and sprains and issues, especially the rotator cuff is one that gets injured a lot. And a lot of this comes down to, in dodgeball, you are throwing a lot, and that repetitive motion can cause overuse injuries in your shoulder. So as far as preventing the shoulder sprains and overuse injuries, first and foremost is noticing the difference between discomfort and pain. If there's a little bit of discomfort, you can probably play through it. You know, as athletes, we're very competitive. We want to push through the pain and play our best. And when it's just a little discomfort, that's probably okay. But when it's pain that you're trying to push through, all you're probably doing is causing a worse injury in yourself. So it's really important to notice the difference, and when it is pain, to take a step back, sit out, sub out, and make sure that it's not more serious. Number 2 is doing shoulder mobility work and shoulder strengthening work. So a lot of times when you work out, you know, you're doing those front raises, those lateral raises, shoulder press, those bodybuilding exercises, but when you're throwing, you're using a lot of your smaller muscles in the back, and you want to make sure that you're doing exercises that are targeting those small muscles. So things like inverted Ys and W raises instead of regular side raises really help target those smaller muscles and help build up the strength there, and in turn helps prevent any overuse injuries. And another way to prevent shoulder injuries is by building up the other muscles involved in throwing. So a huge group of muscles that are involved in throwing are your oblique slings, which are a group of muscles that run from one shoulder to the opposite hip and the other shoulder to the other opposite hip. So I have a bunch of videos on improving rotational power and specifically targeting the oblique slings. And those are all exercises that are important, because by building up those muscles, you're going to take away some of the pressure, some of the strain on your shoulders, because you'll have a strong foundation versus only focusing on one specific area. Number 4, and this is a very important one, and that is concussions. And even at the rec level, they can happen. While at the rec level, usually headshots are not allowed, they still can happen. You know, usually it's rec players, they don't really know how to aim the ball or control the throw, and they tend to throw high. But at the elite level, at the competitive level, headshots do count, and while headshots are frowned upon, they still can happen. Concussions tend to happen more with like 8.5 and no sting, and probably cloth, though I don't have as much experience with cloth, just because those are heavier balls, but they can still happen with foam. Firstly, I think the WDBF and all the federations under it need to have a concussion protocol. Now, they might have one and I just missed it on the website, but if they don't, I think it's really important they implement that, because when you do get hit in the head, you know, you might have a small concussion and you don't even know. You step off the court, next game happens, go back on, get hit in the head again, and that can cause a more serious concussion, a more serious head injury. And by having a protocol in place to just check for concussions, we can avoid having that in the future. So then, as far as preventing the headshot before it happens, the big thing is court awareness. Now, of course, everyone is not trying to get hit in the head and trying to move out of the way, but by having really good court awareness, you're really going to limit the chance you have of getting hit in the head. Now, of course, if they throw 2, 3, or 4 balls at you at a time when you're last in, you know, it's kind of hard to avoid all of them. But when there's single balls being thrown at you, or even 2, should be able to visually see it coming, be aware of it, and move your head out of the way. And if you're newer, just put your hands up and protect your head. It's better than like getting smacked in the head with like an 8.5 ball. And then another thing I found interesting is there's a lot of growing research that's recommending doing neck strengthening exercises. So neck strengthening and flexion to help prevent concussions, which I found really interesting. And it looked like it had to do with the fact that when you get hit in the head and you whip your head back, that quick like whiplash can cause your brain to, I guess, jiggle around in your head. I don't know what the technical term is, but it sounds like there's growing research saying that by doing some neck strengthening exercises, that'll help prevent concussion. So that's something that I want to look into more and see what type of specific exercises that includes, and maybe do a video on that in the future. And number 5, jammed fingers, but more seriously, broken pinkies. Now, jammed fingers tend to happen a lot. A lot of times it's when you're going for a catch and you like miss and go into your hand, or the ball catches you. or you catch the ball and it flips your fingers back. But broken pinkies tend to happen a lot from that as well. There's actually a dodgeball Facebook group that is for people who have broken their pinkies in dodgeball, and they will not let you into the group until you've broken your pinky, and you have to provide a picture of your broken pinky. I don't have the name of it off the top of my head, but I'll link to it below if you ever have broken your pinky in dodgeball and you want to join the group. So in terms of preventing jammed fingers and broken pinkies, the first thing you can do is buddy tape. Now, I personally always buddy tape my ring finger, my pinky finger together every single time, no matter what ball type I'm playing, because I've definitely gone into my hand missing a ball, jamming it. I've gotten caught on the pinky before, and just to not even have to worry about it, I just buddy tape. And now I know some people who have had issues with their middle and ring finger, or their pointer finger in the past, and they'll buddy tape those as well, so they'll have the Star Trek hands. Personally, I don't like taping these two, so I only tape my ring and pinky, but if I ever end up jamming one of these two, then I will buddy tape them. I did actually do a video on taping that I'll link in the description. I did it a while back, but I talked about how I buddy tape my finger. It's pretty straightforward though. And then a new up and coming product is the Nagini sports rings, which they make singles, but they do make a buddy tape version that you can use. I use those a lot as well, and I recommend them just because tape, especially the good tape, which is goat tape, gets really expensive. It's like $6 for a roll, and you can go through it really fast depending on how you tape. So I like using the Nagini rings because they're reusable. I can just throw them in the wash and they're good to go the next time. So like I said at the beginning of the video, you can't completely avoid the injury, but hopefully this gave you some ideas of things that commonly happen in dodgeball and ways to prevent them, things that you can implement in your workout, making sure you properly warm up before you play, and hopefully you avoid injuries in the future. And again, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel. Helps with the algorithm, it helps get dodgeball in front of more people's faces, and drop a comment with any other dodgeball topics you'd like me to cover, and I'll see you guys next week.